my thesis done before that time came, I planned a 2-month trip to Italy. I had a whole semester to write it, and I started, I threw it away, I started, I stopped, I deleted. I mean, it was just not happening. I had to finish it by the end of May. And I was starting to give up. I'm like, I'm either going to have to cancel this amazing trip that I have planned to Italy, or I'm not going to be able to work as faculty because I can't finish this thesis. So I don't know what happened. I think I just gave up. I just said, okay, fine. I don't know what's going to happen. And I sat down one weekend and it literally poured out of me. And I had very little edits afterwards. So I think that was mind helping me through that. I can think of two other times it happened, but other than that, no. So I'm fascinated. I can't wait to hear more from you about how you write every day, for one thing, and what you consider writing from mind.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. The first thing to talk about then is, what do we mean by mind? Most people who know the three principles might know it as the intelligence behind life. Some people might refer to it as God. In the writing world, people might talk about it as creative genius, I've heard it called, inner wisdom. You might call it from that deeper place within us. What you seem to be talking about is, when we're writing from mind, is that we're writing in such a way that it's just downloaded whole. And my experience, I've not had anything downloaded whole. I mean, I really wish. Really wish I could. But it's always seemed to me that whatever we call this place where the writing comes from, and loads of authors talk about this, people who are not spiritual authors, like lots of people will talk about feeling like the story was channeled to them, feeling like it was a download, feeling like they were taking dictation, that kind of thing. And so there is an aspect of most people who are artists or authors or in the creative field will talk about accessing something that is almost beyond them. And it's a really hard thing to make happen. We can't make whatever the intelligence behind life is do something to us. I've always wanted an insight about my weight and health and well-being. I mean, I'm perfectly healthy, but I'm heavier than I think I should, and I'm not very good at exercise. I really would like an insight that's going to help me with my exercise regime. Not being able to make it happen. The same is with, if we think this idea of writing from mind, of getting something just downloaded, to me it seems like life expects us to have some skin in the game. So in your example, Bonnie, what you were talking about, you had this 2 days when you wrote your dissertation and it finally all came through, but you'd been in the game for a long time. The things that you had been writing before would have contributed to what you wrote in those 2 days. So writing from mind is kind of an aspiration as opposed to a thing that we can do. The thing that stops us more than anything is all the noise. So, anybody who's around the principles, about the noise, the thinking that we have going on, the struggle that we have going on. Stephen Pressfield is one of my favourite people who writes about writing. And he talks about the strengths of the writer and the weaknesses of the writer. And the strengths of a writer are mental, and the weaknesses of a writer are mental. The things that get in the way are the mental things, because actually writing is not difficult. Most of us can write, even if we've got dyslexic. And I know somebody recently who's just published a book who has dyslexia, because you don't need to be able to spell, and you don't need to do the punctuation, you don't need to get the grammar right, because all of that kind of stuff can be fixed. So we can all write, we all speak, the vast majority of people, we all write. So the actual writing itself is not difficult, But the noise that we have in our heads about it all is the thing that really gets in the way. So I've been coaching for years and years. I went to do a qualification at university, and as part of that, I had to do reflective writing. So I had to reflect on my coaching, what was going on for me, what was going on in the coaching practice, and all the things that I was learning. And I had to reflect on that and put my own thoughts and ideas down on paper. And I absolutely did not want to do that. I was actually quite happy writing assignments, but not doing this reflective practice. But I couldn't get through the qualification without doing it. So I did it because I had to do it. But somewhere along the line, and I've no idea how or why, but when that course finished, when the qualification finished, I just carried on writing. I've never been a planner in terms of my writing. So I would just sit down and see what came. And that's one of the things I really love. When I'm thinking about writing from mind, one of the aspects of that is me seeing something new on the page. Because it's not coming from my intellect, it's coming from somewhere else. That in three principles, we call it mind. It might be inspiration, it might be wisdom, inner wisdom. In my first book, I called it Invisible Codes, that we all have this inner voice inside us that guides us. Something comes out on the page. And I think that's the thing I love most about writing, is that something comes on the page and I see something that helps me to see life in a different way.
I just really love what you said, that all the false starts that I had when I was writing my thesis contributed to what came out, because I never ever looked at it that way, ever. I mean, I literally would write, okay, I'm writing. Yeah, what am I supposed to write now? What's really coming to me is I think I wanted to write something perfect, and that was a real obstacle. So if I couldn't write something perfect and wonderful and beautiful, then it was just like, yeah,